I eat breakfast 300 yards from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me, so don't think for 1 second that you can come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous.
So he can look cooler.
And the rest of it looked like a luggage cart at the airport that had overturned.
Given $100 and told to go into Walmart.
Hi, welcome to Comedy Parenting Radio Show, the only program that issues bad-fitting old ski boots to house guests so that they clump around them and want to leave sooner.
Boy, we sure know how to treat them right.
Yeah.
I think those aren't even like hand-me-downs. I think they're just like... I think those were the ones that were like on someone's roof rack that fell off and picked them up on the highway.
And for some guests, we actually issue like 2 left boots. So
Yep.
You'll know if you've overstayed your stay here because you get handed a nice pair of ski boots that don't fit. Today's topic is requirements for traveling. Everybody travels, and we have certain requirements that you need to know about. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You gotta take care of Texas, it's the only one we got. If you're way up in Lubbock or down in Lukenbach, gotta conserve water, keep the air clean. Take care of Texas, don't you know what I mean, y'all? Kevin Fowler here. Texas has clean air, rivers, and lakes, so let's get outdoors and enjoy them. Visit TakeCareOfTexas.org, pledge to help keep it that way, and we'll mail you a free Texas State Park guide. Take care of Texas, it's the only one we got.
Sponsored by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality in Texas Parks and Wildlife.
You're listening to Comedy Parenting.
Stop imitating Fezzik, and I mean it.
Does anybody want peanut?
The Chev got stuck and the Ford got stuck, got the Chev unstuck when the Dodge showed up. But the Dodge got stuck in the tractor rut, which eventually pulled out the Ford with some difficulty.
You're back with Comedy Parenting Radio. Requirements for traveling. I would like to point out that's for traveling with...
The Begley family.
Yeah, not just you guys. But if you're going to travel with us, these are some of the things that absolutely have to happen, right?
Correct.
Starting out, you have to have a car that you can double buckle in.
Yep.
Uh-huh. That basically means you need something 2000s prior.
Okay, so what's double buckling, Joshua?
It is the process by which you definitely legally buckle 2 people into the same seat using the same seat buckle.
Right. When you have a bunch of little kids and all that, and you back when you didn't have to do all the car seats and all that, you would just stretch the belt across several kids and buckle it in.
Mm-hmm.
That way you didn't have to upgrade to a bigger car.
No.
Yep, exactly. You can turn a 5-seater into a 9-seater pretty quick using that.
Hey, look, when I was a kid, we traveled from Indiana to California in a 5-passenger car with 8 people. So we would have one person lay on the floor in the back.
Oh.
Which wasn't so bad until your brother would put his feet on top of your face. But anyway. So what's another requirement for traveling with the Begleys?
Probably earplugs.
Only for the driver. You guys don't seem to mind the mayhem.
I brought earplugs this most recent trip.
I don't need earplugs. My hearing is bad enough.
On some trips, I need the plugs, plus I'll put the muffs on, and then I can drive down the road happily.
For me, I use the earplugs because the current person who was playing music had it just slightly too loud, and I did not like going deaf.
What's the real reason that Dad needs the earplugs?
So he can look cooler.
For the tunnels.
Tell us about the tunnels, Josh.
The tunnels where it's deep and dark and dank.
No, the well-lit tunnels where it goes into complete mayhem.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the tunnels of mayhem, the mayhem tunnels.
Of which
Those
Colorado,
tunnels.
by the way, where we live, no matter which way you go, there's a tunnel to leave.
Straight through the Rockies.
Yeah, so you have to go through tunnels, and what happens in the tunnels?
All sorts of yelling and screaming and shenanigans.
And happiness. Happy.
For you guys, happiness.
And, of course, you have to hold up the ceiling, otherwise the tunnel will cave in on you.
Right.
Exactly.
And when you get to the end of the tunnel, you start saying happy, 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 happy,
That, except for it gets like maybe 80 decibels louder.
and you can't tell the truth. You have to be telling a lie.
Exactly.
So give us an example of what goes on. So we're driving along, and we go into a tunnel. What do we hear?
Happy birthday, happy going
Happy
on to Christmas,
something
happy
time,
going to
happy
the
July,
Christmas,
happy
Merry
speaker,
Christmas,
happy
happy
baby,
birthday,
happy
happy
day,
going,
happy roadside day.
Merry Christmas. We just drove out of the tunnel. Now, we have Connie here with us. Connie, you were just on a recent trip with us, and you experienced the tunnels of mayhem. What was your thought as all of a sudden it got really loud in the tunnel?
Well, it clearly was something I had never experienced before, nor was I expecting it at all. Mayhem does not even begin to describe it.
It went on and on and on, didn't it?
It did, and I was trying to figure out if there was a rhyme or reason, and a bunch of it did not make sense, and I realized after the whole shenanigan that it was not intended to make any amount of sense.
Exactly. It's an absolute unrhyme and reason.
Tunnels of mayhem. And how long was that tunnel, by the way?
Oh, my. One of them maybe was 2 minutes long.
Yeah, it's over a mile long. So up on the Continental Divide, the tunnel's over a mile long, and a lot going on. Okay, you're listening to Comedy Parenting Radio, Requirements for Traveling. We'll be back with more requirements.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run.
Speak up, because you can. Your mind is a powerful tool, and so is your freedom of speech. So use it. It's what separates you from being a number to being an individual. Thoughts, beliefs, opinions, creativity. It's what makes you, you. Stand proud and say it loud. Know your rights. Know your freedom to speak. This message is brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters, Education Foundation, and the Broadcast Education Association.
Comedy.
Parenting.
Radio.
Radio.
It's Requirements for Traveling with Comedy Parenting Radio.
You know, it's always good to start out the trip with setting clear boundaries of where you are seating and where the person next to you can put their legs and cannot put their legs.
We hire airline reservationists who do the seating in airlines to assign seats for people in our family. And, like Courtney said, where you put your feet, where you put your drink, where you put your backpack, where you put your journal, where you put your what else?
Oh, well, your stinky socks.
Boy.
My favorite thing about boundaries is ignoring them.
For like 5 minutes, I was just poking Elijah in the shoulder.
I mean, like, Elijah, poking me.
We didn't even make it 30 seconds away from the house, and people started annoying each other in the car.
This is why we bring the sleeping guests.
Yeah. It didn't help that they were taking up their seat as well as half of my seating area. So, you know.
Another requirement for traveling here with the Begleys is about $1,000 worth of junk food.
Yep. If your snack selection doesn't look like a 9-year-old kid that was given $100 went into Walmart, you're doing it wrong.
Maybe it's because we're basically 9-year-old kids being given $100 and told to go into Walmart.
I pretty much go through about $500, just me, myself, and I.
Mr. Stash your snacks in your shirt.
I would like to point out that in the past, sometimes I've tried to have really healthy snacks like carrots and celery and chocolate chip cookies and things like that. But then it kind of devolved into whatever is like...
spoonfuls of sugar.
Whatever you can scrape off the carpet.
Twizzlers tied end to end, being slurped. What else is a requirement for traveling with us?
Screaming at the top of your lungs, road trip.
It's more like, road trip.
Yeah,
Everybody yelling all at once, yeah. When you first take off.
That's when we try to make the driver as deaf as they can so they can't hear us conspiring in the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just happy to get out of the house and see civilization.
And then by the time the end, we're happy to get back in the house away from civilization.
Yeah,
yep.
True.
We're just a pile of introverts.
The duality of man, actually.
Luggage is a big deal with us.
Yeah.
No, a really big deal.
A massive deal.
No, a really, really, really big deal with us.
Think of like 15-passenger van, but you take out all the seats except for the first row so that you can fit everything that you're taking on a 4-day vacation.
Speak for yourselves. On this last trip, I managed to fit all of my stuff into only 3 steamer trunks.
But when we go on vacations or travel with the van, it's like the children and myself are thinking about what you're going to need for the rest of your life. And so that's what we pack.
They always say be prepared.
I mean, we take pretty much everything except for the kitchen sink.
For a 4-person vacation, we have 1 seat in a 15-passenger van, and then the rest is just stacked to the roof with luggage.
Have any of you folks out there listening ever taken a complete encyclopedia set on vacation before?
You see, you need that when you're trying to order at a restaurant that you've never even seen before.
If it's one of those upscale, nice restaurants, and you're trying not to be outclassed, then
Not that we ever go to those.
Or if you see a turtle next to the road and you're trying to study the Galapagos Islands.
I think that an encyclopedia set would do that better.
That's what he said.
Did he?
Yep.
I thought he said dictionary set.
Nope, he said encyclopedia set.
Nuts.
Getting back to the luggage in the van, if we don't travel in the van, like we have, say, a smaller 7-passenger car, the person in the back is actually surrounded by luggage, not?
Yeah, you can't see much of them.
They have the funnest seat in the car because they can just build themselves a fort of luggage and just disappear into it for a couple hours and reemerge
true.
when there's time for food.
Well, we're speaking about that. The back seat is always the most sought-after seating arrangement in any vehicle we're in.
In our most recent trip, Joshua, I would look in the rearview mirror, and all I could see was just your eyebrows and your headphones.
That's where I was, stuffed in the back. It was like my own little goblin cave.
And the rest of it looked like a luggage cart at the airport that had overturned.
On top of him.
With all of the bags of plastic that people had on the top. So anytime we would move, it'd be crinkle, crinkle, crinkle right behind my ears.
Speaking of crinkle, 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 what's one of the biggest annoyances to Dad when we're in a trip? Exactly. I'm driving along, and right behind me is a plastic water bottle.
It's just tradition at this point. You just have to, annoy the driver as much as possible. Just to the point where he's almost pulling the car over to yell, but not quite.
So what I do is when they're crinkling the bottle, I make them hand me the bottle. I'll stick my hand back behind me, and they have to... I confiscate the bottle.
And most recently, we just kept drinking more and more water so that we had more bottles to crunch. And we just had people chugging, and it was a good time.
It was a lot of water bottles, I'll tell you what.
The things you need on a road trip with the Begley family.
A magnanimously positive affinity for fast food.
Remember that trip to Denver that we stayed for several days?
Uh-huh.
All we had was Wendy's.
And how about the time that we went back out east to visit relatives?
Mm-hmm.
And we ate at Burger King every single day.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner for at least 4 to 5 days.
And I became the king collector of crowns.
Heavy is the head that wears the cardboard crown.
He looked like Bartholomew Cubbins. 500 Burger King crowns. Another requirement for traveling is you have to stop at stores that are weird. For example?
Like Hole in the Rock in Moab.
You went and stopped at a police store.
What's so weird about that?
We went out of the way to stop at a special store to buy socks for Courtney last year.
You mean for the Tough Mudder?
Yeah, for Tough Mudder socks.
Compression socks are actually good for you.
They're bad for your wallet, though.
And we had to stop at a Lego store.
It wasn't really weird, it was just cool.
No, it was not cool. It was like 1 million little bricks.
I think it was more than 1 million.
Every brick was used.
Dad was just walking around looking at how much pain he would be feeling if you let Josiah run wild.
I could take the entire store of millions of bricks and I could divide them into 2 kinds of Lego bricks.
What's that?
You could have, on one side of the store, you could have the clean bricks. On the other side of the store would be the licked bricks. Okay, you've been listening to Comedy Parenting Radio. requirements for traveling with the Begleys. Now you know a little bit what it's like. Thanks for coming into the studio, Connie.
Wouldn't want to be anyplace else, guys.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, well...
And for the rest of you knuckleheads,
Yeah?
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff to unpack, so let's get out of here, okay?
Can't I just, put that off for a couple weeks?
I think I'm going to live out of my bag for the time being.
Bye-bye.
You also have to be certifiably crazy.